When I drive through Oklahoma, I can't help but think of you. And for reasons still unclear to me, we didn't much get by. We'd stack up like dominoes and we'd fall down each time. Well, cowboy.
We're recording. We're good.
We're good.
What's up, guys?
Hey.
What's going on, Daniel Chamberlain?
Man, has it been a great Christmas break or what?
It has.
Yes.
So this has been a super fun episode for me to be planning out, because as I'm digging through, as we get this Voices of the Heartland started and trying to figure out who all we're going to talk to, I found out that like all of my friends and my network alone is in like 1,000 hobbies, right? So I've got you guys in food prepping, and I've got shooters and hunters and boaters and, oh my God, actors. It goes, the list goes on. So I'm super excited because you are the only ones I know right now in the restaurant industry or anything similar to it. So excited for this one.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for coming on.
You're very welcome.
Thanks for having me.
So first thing you got to do is introduce yourselves. Ladies go first. So Miss Allison Poe.
I am Allison Poe, or as Daniel likes to call me, AJ, forever and ever.
AJ 103.
AJ 103. Yep, that's me. So I started Poe Prepping with an idea, maybe possibly a little bit against Mark's wishes, and it's kind of just grown from day one. Adapt and overcome has been our motto. I left the nursing world to open a food truck, which I think might have been a little crazy, but it's okay. It's working out. And so I delivered babies for 8 years and said, let's try this meal prepping thing, see what happens. Basically started it just to feed the night shift girls that I was working with, and it just grew from there. So
I mean, that's part of it, right? Filling a void, fill a need.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good.
yes.
So my name's Mark Poe,
Mark Poe, yeah.
and I'm the other half, the worst half most of the time to this lovely lady right here. So we own Poe Prepping together. However, she does most of the work because I have a full-time job outside of Poe Prepping. So I currently do mine safety. So we go into all the places that produce minerals and move material. Retired from the Oklahoma Army National Guard, did 20 years. And so that's December of 2022. I retired and had 20 and a half years in. So I'm stoked about that.
I am a year and a half away.
You'll love it.
And it's going to break my heart if I have to get out at the 20 years, because although there's been ups and downs, I have loved the National Guard. I've loved what it's done for me. I cannot imagine life without putting on that uniform. Like, I envy your beard, and I can't wait
So
to not shave. But for everything it's done for me, I would gladly keep not shaving.
it was hard.
But the politics has gotten intense.
It was hard when I got that 20-year letter, knowing that I could drop that letter at any time and not have to go to drill, not have to deal with the politics. Like at that time, we had so much stuff going on, and every time we were trying to plan something, it would be like, "Oh, you have drill," you know. And so it was just like we went to a concert in Fayetteville, Arkansas, on a Friday night, and I was supposed to have drill the next day. And this is after I had got my letter, and my boss called me and said, "Where you at?" I told you I wasn't coming. And that next month in November, I dropped my letter and I was out by December.
That was the day. And ever since then, it's still weird that we don't have to plan around drill weekend.
Look, I'm obviously in football coaching. Like, I want to go to AFCA in January, but we have drill. I want to go. And last year I had to miss drill to go to AFCA, which is a big football conference where like all the college coaches go that aren't still in the playoffs or whatever. Yeah, it's strange. It sucks, but I've done it for so long. It's the norm, right? Like it isn't. We just look ahead. Like, when's drill? I had to buy that giant calendar over there. And then we have a literally called the big ass calendar in the corner, and there's all these little colored squares.
So we came up to y'all's house. Was it Christmas or no? It was back after we did prior, the first time that we seen it, and Allison's like been wanting one ever since, a big ass calendar.
Hey, we also plan our life around your drill schedule. So
right. Yeah, you do still. This is the new thing.
I saw
My wife bought me one of these, the big ass planner. I've opened it,
and I'm already in it. Look,
it's pretty good. Well, mine is blank.
Yeah, see,
but like that's the whole year in 2 pages, right? Like that's the whole purpose of this, and it still has. I guess this is me pitching an ad for the big ass planner.
Yeah.
I love the calendar. I've got to use this, but it's pretty neat. Anyway.
Cool. It is big, though. It's going to be hard to carry around is the only issue with the big-ass planner.
Bigger than my backpack.
Big.
You need a big-ass backpack for your big-ass planner.
Yeah.
There you go. That's the next thing to create.
Right.
Sam's bringing in.
The one that she's actually like.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that. So if you're trying to plan your life out, that's the thing. So I want to talk. Number one, we have to discuss that, Mark, you are Chickasaw Indian, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So you are like that makes your company veteran and native owned.
Chickasaw veteran owned company, yes, sir.
Yeah, which is super cool because that I'm sure they get you a lot of perks. One, but two, like there's not a lot of Chickasaw. I mean, in our area there are, but not like globally. Yeah. You know what I mean? And veterans, I think there's maybe even less.
We are the only Chickasaw owned preferred vendor.
Yeah, so the nation or the tribe, they do a preferred vendor list. Mm-hmm. And they have anywhere from plumbers to food to just, any kind of industry that you can think of. And they do, we've got different opportunities to serve the Chickasaw legislators, Chickasaw people, Chickasaw, just Chickasaws in general, Chickasaw annual meeting that we go to. And so whenever one of the departments need a catering, they go to that preferred vendor list and it shows if it's native owned or if it's non-native owned, veteran owned. So they encourage the different departments to use that preferred vendors list in order to do different things. So,
right. It makes sense, right? Use your own people's things, which is awesome.
They used to not, but I will tell you, since COVID, it has definitely improved. And like I said, us being the only food truck, we get a lot of events just because we can come to them. So that helps a lot. And I mean, we go everywhere to all the locations. We've even been asked to go to do a few events in Texas, and as soon as they say, yeah, we'll pay for your license to get there and the gas, I'm there 100%.
Wow. That's awesome. I want to talk about the creation of Poe Prepping a little bit here in the beginning. And Allison, you already alluded to the fact you were a nurse. And like Allison and I went to college together at East Central. We were roommates for a long while. Her parents are listening right now, I'm sure, and going, yeah, son of a gun. Like,
yeah, you took over my house.
Sergeant Chamberlain.
They were roommates, but I've actually known Daniel longer than Allison has.
It's a small world.
I know that we're not talking about the military, but Daniel and I were both in a program called Upward Bound.
God, I forgot about Upward Bound.
So his first year, I did split ops. So I went to basic training in between my junior and senior year in high school. And then we had Upward Bound in the summer. We spent like a month and a half at Murray State doing course, like high school courses that we would be doing the next year for school. And so he started Upward Bound while I was gone, and I came back, and then we met at events, and then my senior years we got to know each other then. And then I think you had joined the military. Did you do split ops too, or did you?
No, I went straight through. I joined the military June 21st and shipped out July 12th. Like there was no time.
And then Daniel and I were actually in the same guard unit whenever he first joined. And then I had my first deployment and then come back. And then we deployed together. So I've actually, it's been 20 years. It was 20, right at 20 years that Daniel and I have known each other.
Nice.
Yeah, it's been a long time, and I forgot all about Upward, and that was a whole
Lifetime ago.
What's weirdly enough is I use Adobe Premiere to do all of my producing for all the podcasts that I do now.
And that's probably where you was introduced to Adobe.
And I learned it. That's right. Remember we did the Elvis Jailhouse Rock was our song, and we had to record a live recording.
Yeah.
Like we had to go out and record us playing drums and singing and playing guitar, and then put it to his music. And that's where I learned it and timed it all. I was like,
I want to see that.
G back then on some Adobe Premiere, and now look at me. Who knew?
So
go ahead.
And then we'll talk about how we met. We met at a hole in the wall.
The funniest story of my entire life, by the way.
So I was not necessarily in between jobs, but I was working in the oil field, driving a tank truck. And I was working evening shifts / night shift, and I had got off work about 11 o'clock. And we have this little hole in the wall bar in Ada where we live at called the Village Inn.
The Bellagio.
And I went in there and was having a beer. And then she walked in with some of her friends. And
you walked in with some of your friends.
Another one. She was with another one of a guy I know, and she asked him, "Who is that guy over there?" "Oh, that's Mark."
"Who's that cute boy in the corner over there?"
And I was still in my work boots, and I had a white T-shirt on that was covered in Old Base mud. And she comes up to me and says, "You're going to buy me a beer." Sure enough, I did.
That's absolutely an AJ line.
I was telling Abigail, one of her favorite songs is, "You look like you love me." And I'm like, that's kind of what I told your dad.
Oh, God, that's epic.
Long story short, he got to meet my dad the next morning. I called Daniel and I said, "I met this really cute boy at the bar." And he said, "Don't tell me it's Mark Poe." And I said, "How'd you know that?"
So we have to set the stage here. So this is Mark Poe and I didn't like each other all that well back then.
No.
We were
too alike. We were both hard-headed.
We were very much so alike. Not that we were enemies, but we were like, can you be arch nemesis and not be enemies? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
It was like we were each other's kryptonite.
At the time,
stay away from me, I'll stay away from you. And I pulled that name out of thin air. Like the only guy in the world it cannot be is Mark Poe. She's like, that's his name. Jesus Christ! Here we are, all these years later.
Here we are.
So AJ, we got to hear, and you mentioned COVID, and you talked about being a nurse. Mm-hmm. So walk me through that. Like, obviously, there has to be some awareness for that out in the world that like COVID burnt out the medical field. As much as everyone else was tired and as political as that got, you're locked in your house, et cetera, et cetera. Nurses in the medical field were absolutely burnt out. So walk us through that.
Well, we actually started Poe Prepping right before COVID.
So we went to the town festival here in Ada, and they had all these food trucks lined up and all these restaurants, and I was doing well with Octavia and losing weight and being a health coach, and I was hungry and had a really good parking spot, and I went into all the food trucks and was just trying to find something healthy to eat that wasn't fried, wasn't breaded. And I was pissed because there was nothing healthy to eat. And first off, I was hangry. And second off, I was going to have to give up my really good parking spot. And I called Mark Poe and I said, "I'm opening a healthy food truck."
No, we were at the event together.
I know, but I called you because I was doing that class and you were doing something else.
So this was in August of 2019. We went to this little music festival at East Central campus, and they had all the
Go Tigers.
They had all the food trucks lined up, right there across from Halle Brown. And they had the stage set up right there by the fountains or whatever. And she said, "I can't eat anything here." So she had to leave. And then she called me and said, "Hey, I'm opening up a food truck."
He's like, you have a really good job. You should maybe not do that. So that was in August 2019. And
September, we bought a pickup.
September, we bought a big Ford pickup. And
October,
we bought a food truck. And November 14th, 2019, on our 5th wedding anniversary, I opened a food truck that I was only going to run part-time, like 1 or 2 days a week, because I was contracted between 3 different hospitals at that time, and only doing part-time at each hospital. But it was in babyland. Like it's busy. You always need nurses. it's always short staffed. And once COVID started in 2020, it was like, okay, everything changed like drastically, so drastically. And I basically was getting called off and turned down for shifts that I was already scheduled for because as a group, these hospitals decided that it was more beneficial to bring in and overrun their full-time employees than to risk extra exposure of bringing in part-time people. So that led to, yes, the burnout of all their full-time people and then the real issue of being understaffed. But I basically couldn't work for 7 months as an RN. I could not pick up a shift between 3 different hospitals. And I was like, we have to do something. So I went to online health coaching and did that pretty steadily and pretty well. Started food trucking about 5 days a week at that point.
So that at that time I went back to college. So after we got back from Afghanistan in 2013, I went back to college.
Just like me, we're
no,
old
I went
heads
to
in
the
there.
oil field for almost 2 years. I was working on a drilling rig, and then I got laid off because it was the down. They were just laying a bunch of people off, and so I went back to college in like 2015, and I was working for my environmental health science degree. And at the time when we opened Poe Prepping, I was actually working for the tribe or the Chickasaw Nation as a health inspector. Going to all like the casinos and all the travel stops and doing health inspections like your county health inspector does, going in there and making sure their hand wash stations are right. And when we first,
telling his wife how wrong she's doing. Not really.
In the food truck.
So I was in the food code, about rules and regulations pretty heavy because I had just graduated and then that was my full-time job. And when we first started, we fought.
It was bad, but it was also made my life super easy because I literally said, you have to fill out this booklet of paperwork that says I'm going to do all this and do it right. And I said, Mark, fill this out for me. You know all the answers. Right. So he really, it was a blessing in disguise.
To get any like food establishments, you have to do a plans review, and then you got to pay the fees, and then you have to have the inspector come out, and then you have to be Serve Safe certified, and me working on my sanitary and training or my
sanitary and training, yes.
I had all that completed, so I just put my name on the applications, and we got that process wasn't too difficult because I was doing it all the time. And then talk about COVID, right after we opened the food truck, right before COVID, I took a different job within the nation, and I moved from Indian Health Service to community services, and I was working with the grants.
Behind a desk.
Sitting behind a desk. And I thought that I would like it at first. And I did, and then COVID hit, and they sent everybody home to work from home. And I'm not the type of person that can work from home.
Mark does not do well working from home.
You got to be I have bad days still, and that's all I do is work from home, and it's like
so. COVID helped us in the fact that all the restaurants, everybody remembers how it was in 2020 whenever COVID happened. Everybody was like no sit down places. Everybody was takeout, and
that exploded us.
People would just come to us because they didn't have to wait in a line, or they would wait in their car, and then if somebody walked up, they could social distance.
Oh, and we bought the Meals on Wheels truck. I forgot we bought a delivery truck and started doing meal prep delivery all over the state for like a year. I completely forgot that.
I didn't know about it.
Yeah. So when we started, our goal was to adapt and overcome, and we did not know how realistic that would be. Everything shuts down. You have to do door drop deliveries. There were people that we delivered to for a year and never even saw what they looked like. They would pay online. Yeah. We would drop it at their door, knock on it, walk away, leave. And people would get mad at me because I would go send my mom to do these deliveries. And she was the only one that takes, what is that medication? She takes the medication that like normally that was supposed to keep you from getting COVID. And so like none of us ever got COVID ever. And nobody could believe that. I'm like, well, we don't see anybody. We cook in this super hot environment all the time. We wash our hands with bleach nonstop. Like we never wore a mask, like, you know,
Right.
but it was just like every year we have to adapt and overcome. And I completely forgot about the year that we did meal prep delivery. So that was a real weird thing. But we were delivering to people all the way up in the Panhandle, almost to Arkansas, down to the Texas state line. Just, we would pick a quarter of the state each day, basically, of the week, and people would order online, pay online. And like I said, my dad or my mom would just load them up and go drop them off and come back.
That's so cool. I mean, but honestly, like that is something that we needed, right? Like you were providing not only was it a service that paid you money, which that's why we opened businesses, to make money, but dude, we were in dire times. Like there wasn't, you couldn't go out. Hell, you couldn't go grocery shopping hardly.
Right.
I'm so glad we found like Walmart pickup, and I'm not a big fan of huge companies.
Good.
I like small town things, which is why you guys are here. But Walmart pickup has been a game changer. It also happened to be when I had 2 young babies, and so now they don't go to Walmart anymore. You know how many toys I don't have to buy because they don't have to walk through the toy aisle? Like, let's go.
The best.
Yeah, there was many family fights when I was a kid because we went to Walmart. Like, Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me about, like, what are you guys doing now? What is Poe Prepping now? Where are you guys located? What services do you have at this point?
So we actually still own our original food truck. It's not in service currently. We are just using it for storage. So in 2020, we got a grant actually from the Chickasaw Nation to purchase our new food truck, which is
no longer new,
but still a lot nicer than
most. Hasn't it, Mark Poe?
We found this place for some reason. This on Facebook ad, this place in Cleveland, Georgia, called Red Fern Dynamics. They custom build trailers, anywhere from 10-foot all the way to 3-axle, like gooseneck type. They built a one that attaches to a semi. And so we designed it, and they built us a custom food truck. And then we put a way too expensive generator, but it's been a lifesaver on the front of it.
I always tell people that if I wasn't married, I could find a new husband just by hauling my generator around.
So we drove out. So this was in, I think, September of 2020 when it was finally done.
Yeah.
So we applied for the grant. During COVID, they were giving out all kinds of, they just had tons of money. They were giving it out to businesses.
Yeah, you paid for that, you jerk.
Impacted by COVID. And so we went through, and I was working in grants at the time. I was kind of getting to this earlier. I was working in grants at the time, so I knew the process to apply for the grant, and we applied for it, and we got it. And actually, it helped us with payroll for a year, and it helped us buy the new food truck, or the food trailer. It's not a truck. And that's one of the reasons why I quit from the tribe, is because when we went out to Georgia to pick the trailer up, we had to do these questionnaires every day before we went to work or before we clocked in. It was like, who was you around? Who, was you exposed this or that? And I was like, I couldn't get on board with them telling me what I could and couldn't do on my off time,
Right.
And so at that point, we had got the truck. The business was doing good. We were looking to hire somebody. So I quit the tribe and went to work full-time food trucking.
Which was very challenging.
It was.
Look, they say don't mix family and work for a reason, right?
Don't
even
do
if
it.
it's your spouse.
Especially
even if it's your own
in
business.
a 12-foot space.
So
where literally the temperature is hot all the time.
Yeah.
So it was
the horizon.
It was her mom and dad, me and her, and then we had one other girl that worked for us. Her name was Casey, and there was times that one of us would have to walk out of the food truck because we were so mad. It might have been Allison, might have been me, it might have been Larry Jones.
It was Hell's Kitchen in there almost daily. But at the end of the day, we'd all drink a beer and it'd be okay, But when you're just in that close of an environment and it's intense and there's food flying and knives, and it's not great.
And time matters, right? Like the difference in 10 minutes and 15 minutes in a food, like when you're producing food,
it's a big difference.
That's a happy customer and a pissed off customer, right? 5-minute interval. So I get it, man. I've actually luckily got to help, right? I've got to jump in the Poe Prepping food truck and do some cooking and cleaning, and
He's a
it's
natural.
been good. So I understand.
He-
I understand all the problems.
So I guess it was 2021. We needed more room, and I was kind of against it because we had both of these food trucks, and we was trying to run them both, and we needed more space, more refrigerators, this and that. And so there was a guy that I went to high school with that owns a bunch of properties in and around Ada, and he does remodeling. And he kind of built his business by acquiring properties, rental houses, and trailer parks, and now he owns several commercial spaces throughout Ada and the surrounding area. He had bought this building in town that used to be the district water office. And they had built,
gutted.
They had built a new water office, and this one was sitting empty. So we looked at it before he bought it. We were going to try to buy the building ourselves and remodel it. But we just didn't have the capital.
Remember when you told me you bought it and I cried? I was mad.
So we went with our realtor and we was talking to the bank about trying to buy this building. And then the guy that I went to high school with ended up buying it because that's what he does. He buys them, remodels them, and then either rents them out or sells them after he remodels them. So he has the funds and the knowledge and the crew to do the remodeling on it. When he bought it, we went straight to him and was like, "Hey, we want to rent that building in order to expand our business a little bit." And so we ended up having to put, I think it was $5,000.
Yeah, we put $5,000 down. He remodeled the building to code to what we needed.
Yeah.
And then we actually refinanced the Ford.
So we had our truck that pulls the trailers almost paid off. I think we owed $5,000 on it.
Yeah, and we refinanced it to buy all of our equipment that is inside of our building now. And then we opened it in July of 2021.
I believe that was kind of accurate.
With just intentions of having a commissary other than our kitchen table.
Because at one point, the wall that you see behind us, there was a 2-door commercial grade refrigerator sitting against that wall. And then we're sitting at our kitchen table right now. It would just be
even the pantry now is still sometimes is the thing, right?
Yeah.
So we needed space to get Poe Prepping out of our house because it was causing
clutter and chaos and madness. And so just having it as a commissary was amazing because we get to eat at our kitchen table again.
Right.
It's fantastic. And then, it gave us a place where people could come to pick things up if we weren't out food trucking. We couldn't get bulk deliveries because it was a residential address. So now that we have a commercial address, we can order in bulk. So that has ended up saving us a lot of time and money. And then just the store alone has grown and changed so much just since we got it. I mean, we've had renters anywhere from a photographer to another food truck that shared the building with us. And now they've moved out, and we've actually turned part of our storefront into an edible artistry classroom.
We do paint classes. We do all different types of stuff. And that's
wait, can I come there and drink bourbon and learn how to make?
I want you to come actually teach a bourbon pairing class with me. Will you do that?
Let's go.
That would be so fun. And so I'm
podcast is paying off.
I've got the the girly stuff down. I've got the paint class and the charcuterie and wood burning class and cookie decorating and all that. But I need some manly things.
We got a class that we do. We have a friend of ours that makes custom cabinets. And so those have got all kinds of different woods. So he makes us cutting boards, and then we have the little wood burners to engrave in the cutting board. You can do your name. We've had all types of different stuff that we can put on those cutting boards. And then
Here's the problem is now I need a giant custom cutting board.
I can do that.
And I need to come and do a how to brew your own beer class.
Yep.
we got the
How to
space.
make your own bourbon class.
Yep.
Pairing it with food, I'm about to live in Ada half the year or something, just doing classes.
Come on.
I didn't even know. How did we get through Christmas break and Friendsgivingmas? Is that what we called it?
Yeah.
Sam, is that what we called it?
Friendsgiving Miss.
You'll comment in a minute. Yeah, Friendsgiving. We didn't even talk about the fact I can come down and teach people how to make their own bourbon and beer.
Yeah, we have a guy that's going to come in and do like knife sharpening classes and just all kinds of stuff. I mean, we are trying to get to where we're doing a meal prepping class at least once a month. It's just with the holiday season, it was so madness. So we're pushing it off until January. But, just coming in and doing meal prepping classes, you can rent it out for small parties. I would love to get to where we're having like little girl tea parties with charcuterie and things like that. It's just a really fun, relaxed atmosphere with parking and, it's not overly priced and food's right there. So that makes it easy. And then we're still definitely doing the meal prepping there at the store. We have, which is what helps us really to reduce our waste because it's just helping us not to throw things away. So we portion and measure and freeze meals that people can just come pick up whenever they want to heat them up. They're ready to go.
Homemade TV dinner, basically. You pop it in the microwave.
Without all the preservatives.
It's healthy.
Yeah, so we're shooting for heart healthy, diabetic friendly, low carb. That's like 95% of our menu. We do a lot of gluten-free options. We have quite a few vegan options if people are interested in that, which is surprising to me how many vegans there are in the Ada area. But it's growing, and it adapts and it changes throughout the year even. I mean, just from January to March is all about, meal prep, healthy eating, meal plans, things like that. And then it's like March to June is all about like graduation parties and getting ready for summer. And then it's all the summer foods. And then back to fall, everybody is trying to lose weight again for those family pictures.
As far as the food truck goes down, we slow down in the wintertime. It's just, it's hard to food truck when it's cold outside because you have a big bit hood and it's moving all the cold air. And it's miserable.
It freezes your eyeball liquids.
And so that's another advantage of having the stores. We can still, meal prep and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And then also in like July and August, we don't food truck a whole lot of events or we don't go out in the truck because it's so dang hot.
It burns your juices.
There's 250 amp like RV style air conditioners in there. But those aren't enough to keep up with, we've got a 36-inch grill, we got a 6-burner stove, we got a 5-rack convection oven. And then we have five refrigeration/freezer units in there putting off heat, in the middle of the summer. So it's hard to food truck when it's really, really cold and when it's really, really hot.
Basically, we food truck anywhere between 36 degrees and 98. Unless you're paying me a lot of money, I'll suffer through.
What's funny is, so last spring,
mm-hmm.
I was finishing up. I was coaching football at Owasso. Absolute legend Bill Blankenship let me come learn under his tutelage for a year and do some stuff with the freshman team and all that. But we got to January, and I don't know if y'all know or not, but teaching sucks. Like,
more power to you, sir.
It's like trying to wrangle 30 kids who don't want to be there.
No.
Who just want to be on their phone like every other addicted adult at this point in time. Me too, dude. Like it's just, I know, I get it. In fact, podcasting is like the only time I put my phone down, it seems like, and it's stupid. And I know it's bad. Anyway, I was looking for ways to get out of teaching, and I ended up just doing it through selling online stuff for football. But I got a wild hair up my ass and said, "Oh, I'm going to open my own food truck," right? And started looking into pizza because you know what goes really great with everything is pizza.
Mm-hmm.
But the everything goes great with is cold beer. So like I just wanted to sell craft beer and like pizza, right? Like what do they call it? Brick oven pizza. And the only thing that got me out of it is like, number one, it's hotter than hell in there. And I don't like the hot. Mark and I have been to the desert, the real desert, the one where it gets to like 130 and you're like, oh man, this kind of sucks. It's going to be hotter tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
But trying to keep dough from like going bad, apparently at, whatever temperature it is in those food trucks is really hard to do.
Yeah.
I was following a guy from Britain who ran a food truck, but guess what? It's not hot in Britain, like ever. They never have a hot day. So the guy that I got my inspiration from, I immediately realized I can't do it like he does because the temperature is different.
Mm-hmm.
So not only the heat in the truck, but then trying to keep all the food going was not going to happen for me.
Yeah.
So kudos to y'all for figuring out how to stay productive and stay in the truck when it sucks, hot, cold, whatever. Like I've been on a hot day. I don't think I've done it on a cold day yet.
No, you hadn't even
It's pretty
been
much
there on a hot day yet.
not even a super hot day.
No, it was.
I tried to help out the
March.
homestead thing.
Yeah.
The prior
Dude,
event,
let me tell you, this guy, I got to give major props to Daniel Chamberlain. I took what I thought was enough food for 2 days of a full festival, which I will say we actually cater the hospitality room for this festival. It's the Okie homesteading event in Pryor. If you need to check it out. If you've never been, it's awesome. But anyways, we love them. They love our food. They love to eat healthy and fresh. We've been going every year, and I took enough food to last 2 days. And at the end, not even the end, I think in the middle of the first day, I said, "Boy, Daniel, help!"
So yeah, we had a lot. There was several other food trucks there, and there was people that was coming up to us and telling us that they waited in line for 2 hours
just to order.
Just to order.
Because there was that many people in line.
They liked our menu. They wanted to try something. And then when they would order, they would get their food out within, I mean, the longest somebody waited after they ordered was 20 minutes, I think.
Yeah. And that's because we have to cook chicken, and we cook like 40
And then,
pounds.
That was at the other place. The other places were bad, and y'all's was a lot better, right?
well, the other people, they were waiting in line, and then it would take, 30, 45 minutes to get food to where, after they ordered.
Yeah.
And so we got our butts handed to us the first day. We was me, her, and her dad. And we went to Walmart after the end of that day. Daniel and Sam and the boys come up.
Everybody got a cart.
And we had four carts rolling around Walmart and getting food for the next day event. And then Daniel went home back to Jay and then come back the next morning and killed it.
Literally.
Like we've had people that we have to tell multiple times, hey, do this, do this, do this. And Daniel come in, and Daniel has a little bit of experience in
Restaurant experience.
in service industry.
I waited tables to get through college.
And so he would just come in, and it made the second day. And the second day was the same as the first, but having that extra person in there, and you didn't have to tell him, hey, make salsa or portion out salsa or do this or add this. There was a couple of times that Daniel, hey, what goes in this? But that's to be expected if this is the first time that you're helping us in the food truck. Me and her and her dad can get in there, and we just say, she'll yell out what needs to be, cooked, and we just make it. Having that fourth person in there.
And we had to hand cut all of our vegetables and chicken that morning because we sold out of everything that we had pre-cut.
I had blisters.
So first of all, if you're listening right now and you're thinking about starting a food truck, do it.
Do it. But use frozen food.
But there's drawbacks, right? I mean, and that's part, and that's why I kind of want y'all on the show because the purpose of this show, Voices of the Heartland, is talk about people who are
and
not necessarily being comfortable for other people, like for the benefit of other people. And y'all having a healthy food truck. Not only is it a food truck, and that's you can go get I wanted to sell pizza. I'm not exactly the healthiest person on earth. You can go get pizza, you can go get wings, you can go get all this stuff, but the stuff y'all make is actually good for people, which is amazing. Starting, I think, inspiration probably came from the health coaching.
So
right?
at one point, we back up a little bit. At one point, even I was still in the military, and I was 260 pounds, Daniel.
Yeah,
Allison.
I got up to 230 at one point. I'm only 5'3", so I was a little butterball.
and so then we went on the we both lost a whole bunch of weight. I think at one point I got down back to 175, which I don't know this. If I stay around 190, 200, I'm a little over that now. But if I stay around 190, I feel good. Yeah. And so really that's where the food truck idea started going back to, we were on that health journey and there was nothing to eat there. And so now most of our food, 5 to 7 ounces of a protein, whether it be, ground turkey or chicken. We don't really do a whole lot of beef. We do
a Philly cheesesteak.
A Philly cheesesteak bowl. But 5 to 7 ounces of protein and 3 servings of greens. What those greens look like: bell peppers, tomatoes, onions, lettuce.
Baked, steamed, grilled. We don't fry anything.
Broccoli,
There's not
zucchini,
even a fryer in our
squash.
food truck.
We use, extra virgin olive oil. Some people say, well, that's not healthy, but is it better than other types of oils,
We honestly, we didn't even serve bread of any kind for the first 3 years.
3 years.
We started serving bread because after COVID, nobody cared about being healthy anymore. They weren't getting money to lose weight.
And we would go to these events and
bars.
I remember one time we went down to a CrossFit event in Davis, or not Davis, but Durant.
Oh yeah.
And me and her were working it together, which, some events it's doable, especially not when you're getting your butt handed to you. And there was this lady walking. For some reason, I was walking back to the food truck, and this lady walked up. We were the only truck there, and she says, "Oh hell no, I'm not eating that because it's healthy." Because we advertise, healthy stuff, and it kind of stuck a nerve with me. You won't even try it though.
Even though it smells so good.
We set up, and Allison tells this story, but we set up at the Chickasaw Hospital here in Ada, and she had been trying to feed the lawn crew. They have a crew specifically for lawn maintenance at the hospital.
Some big dudes,
all big,
that work in all their.
One of them might have been my brother. He did that for several years. He was like a manager of the lawn crew.
Yeah, so, like your brother type dudes.
So they have food truck Wednesdays, and they have 2 or 3 food trucks come out. And for some reason that day, the other 2 food trucks had a long line, and they had to get back to work. So they come and ordered food from us, and after they ate, they said, "That's so good. Why haven't we eaten your food, over the last 2 years?" Well, because you think it's healthy.
Because it says transformational health on the side. You think it's not going to taste good. I was like, I've been trying to get you to eat my food for 3 years.
It does give off a little hippity dippity vibe, or we're in that range now where there's a shit ton of politics out there, but like the average American who sits down to a TV dinner on their little, what's the thing you hide under your couch that comes a table, like that went away. And then we all just went into fast food. Like people are
so
it's supposed to just be greasy and shitty, and it just comes out and it
make you feel bad.
So
yeah, we don't health. We're going to talk in just a little bit about the election of Donald Trump. Not really that, but more RFK Jr. and his "Make America Healthy Again," because you guys are on the cutting edge of that already. But go ahead, Mark. We'll get there in a few minutes.
So, then we started it. We'd go to some of these events, and people wasn't ordering our food because it said it's unhealthy. So we started adding. She added quesadillas to the menu, and so now
which are the best quesadillas.
So now you can get instead of a Philly cheesesteak bowl, you can get a Philly filled quesadilla or a chicken and cheese quesadilla. And you're still that the carbs that you get from that tortilla it's not a ton, and it's still relatively, healthy, and we can put almost anything in a quesadilla, in a tortilla.
The Poe Grill is where it's at. It's got the jerk chicken with real bacon bits, grilled onions, and then we make our own garlic buffalo and dill aioli, and it's just.
When we first had the idea to start the food truck, I told Allison, I said that you need to find a protein that you can use multiple ways. And we had just got back from, I think in 2018 is when we went to Jamaica.
Yeah.
We had just got back from Jamaica, and we had some jerk chicken there that was off the chain. And so we got into this deal of trying to find different jerk seasonings to make jerk chicken, at the house. And I said, why don't we do like jerk chicken and steamed vegetables, and then you can use the chicken in this, and you can use the chicken in that, and you can use the chicken in this. And so that jerk chicken kind of just stuck with us. And, it's been like the number one thing that we've sold over the last 5 years. So we do anything from like jerk chicken, steamed vegetables to pizza casseroles that have rice cauliflower in them, to
gumbo.
Gumbo's
good.
Do soups. We do salads. One of my favorite is we have to call it a mini mac salad, but the concept of a Big Mac cheeseburger. It's got the lettuce, it's got sauce, it's got ground turkey, sesame seeds, and it's pretty good.
Yeah.
All the things that you make are super delicious, and I also really enjoyed the fact that it's all made to order. Right? There's no. I'll just tell my story. I tried to do the, and this is a story of failure and quitting and I hate it. But last January, and I'm going to do it again this year because I have to, but I tried to do the carnivore diet. Okay. And when I'm at home, hella easy. Super easy to be carnivore. In fact, as a man, there's no greater diet because it's just steak.
Yeah.
You wake up and you eat steak. And when you go to bed, you eat steak. And like, what's better than that?
Yeah.
I went and just got giant cuts of meat and cut my own ribeyes, like as thick as up. It's amazing. Buy in bulk, eat all the steak you want. The carnivore diet, because it has all these good things, right? You're talking anti-inflammatory. It helps high blood pressure. It helps blah, 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 blah. Dr. Sean Baker, I believe, is the founder of the diet. He wrote a book like outlining the diet, blah, blah, blah. I heard about it on the Joe Rogan podcast. Decided I'm going to do it. I'm going to go carnivore, meat only, which was fantastic for like the first 6 days of January. And then I went to AFCA, which I mentioned earlier. And I was in Nashville. It was in Nashville. And we went downtown. And it's like, I'm drinking water and eating meat. That's all I can have. Mm-hmm. And it didn't matter what restaurant we went into. You weren't getting meat only. No. In fact, like I went to a burger joint. It was like, can I just buy the patty? And they're like, yes, but it's still $28. You're going to pay for everything else. We can't. They didn't have an a la carte or anything, right? So what I really appreciate about places like what y'all are running is the ability to just say, hey, I'm on this thing. Hook me up. And you know it's coming out and it's going to fit to the diet.
There's a TikTok user that I follow. It's a husband and wife. They're down in Texas. It's called Bar 7 Ranch.
Okay.
And I watched them on social media, and they had started the carnivore diet and been doing it for about a year now. But they were guest speakers at the Okie Homesteading event last year. And I went up to them and talked to them. I said, hey, I know that y'all's, I watch y'all's TikToks and y'all's social media. I know that y'all's on the carnivore diet. If we can do that. We can do that, if you just meat only. And
we fed them all weekend.
We fed them multiple times over the weekend. And like you're saying, everything's made to order. If you don't want something on it or you want something special, everything is made to order.
You just got to ignore Larry Jones in the background going, this ain't Burger King.
Yeah, Larry Jones, you get over it. Let's talk this Make America Healthy again. So we talked about like you guys already aren't using the seed oils. You're already cooking using healthy ingredients. Like what does that kind of mean to y'all that we've been pushing it from the bottom up for a long time? You did it at Optavia or whatever the hell you called that place, right? As a health coach, you're trying to teach people. Sam just made a comment on Facebook about like the fact that once you get away from unhealthy fast food, it actually tastes terrible.
Yes.
It makes your stomach upset. It's not good. We haven't had the last time we spent money at McDonald's, we came to y'all's house and bought coffee there because there was no real espresso place in Ada at the time. And that was in 2017.
Yep.
I think Sam will correct me in a minute. That's the last time McDonald's got $1 for me. And before that, it was like 3 years. I haven't eaten there since like 2014 because we just got away from it. And people act like I'm crazy because, no, I'm not putting that shit in my body.
No,
I'm not putting it in my body. My kids have never tasted it and they never will. Until they're of age, they're going to go out and do it on their own. And that hopefully they still don't.
Right. And that's
so what does this maha kind of mean to y'all and moving forward?
It means, to me, it means there's nothing more satisfying to me as a food industry person than seeing children try my food and like it. To know that there are healthy options out there, to realize that they don't have to eat French fries and chips with every meal. To set up a charcuterie table and see the line of children behind me just waiting to dig into all those fruits and vegetables, like it's the best. And people think we're crazy because, I made grilled vegetables, baked chicken thighs, and jasmine rice for dinner tonight. And Abigail tore it up.
And Abigail
got seconds.
She'll take gumbo to school in her lunchbox.
Yeah. And
hey, that gumbo is popping. Yeah. Let's go.
And I want gumbo or I want this. And she
wants to take boiled eggs in her lunchbox. She wants to take yogurt. She wants to take pickles. And, and that's what it means to me is showing adults that it's normal to eat real food. First off, not even healthy. Like, quit labeling it as healthy. Just label it as, hey, yo, this is real. It was grown in the dirt. It wasn't produced by a machine. It doesn't have pesticides all over it. It doesn't, like, it's real food. It's nutritious. It's going to fuel your body the way it needs to be fueled. Drink water because your body's made of water and it needs it to survive. And then it's going to just become a normal thing. Like, children don't, like you said, they don't know what they are missing out on if you don't give them that opportunity. And that's...
I was pretty upset. My son got a Sprite at the movie theater with the school. That's the first soda he's had in his life.
Yeah.
Like, that shit ain't in our house, right? And I mean, I'd quit drinking pop in 2011. Like, it's been a long time ago.
Yeah.
But it's weird how normal it is for some people. That, like, that's just what they have.
Oh, yeah.
They drink 2 or 3 or 4 of those things a day, and that's normal. And it's like, it's bizarre to me. I just don't understand it because I'm not in that world anymore, right? I've changed what's normal for us. So I have to sometimes remind myself that, like, yeah, we used to do that too, right? I can remember going to, what they say, McDonald's has the best Sprite. Like, I can remember getting the 44-ounce Sprite, right? Because that's what you did. It was very normal. So,
and the funny thing is too, like, I was reading that, you spend all this extra money on these extra large cups at all these places when really it's just extra ice that you're paying for. It's the same amount of soda. Like, you're literally screwing yourself. Like, it's crazy. And so that's what it means to me is teaching adults that real food is worth it. Once and it takes like 3 days for your taste buds to adjust, and you don't want to eat that junk anymore. You crave vegetables, you crave fruit, you crave, meat and things that are good for you. And that once your taste buds change like that you're just showing your children and they're showing their children. And then that's just what has to happen.
I think it's weird whenever people's like, no, I don't eat vegetables, or I don't eat this, or I don't eat that.
Yeah.
Well, does it go back to what you were, how you were raised? Even with my son, like he'll order a cheeseburger, but he won't get any of the vegetables on him.
But he did sit down at Boomerang the other night and he ate a salad. I was like,
there we go.
I'm so excited.
So on this idea and talking about this exact thing, I read a paper or an article, something when I was in college that talked about basically myelination of your nervous system, of your brain. But basically, if you,
for sugar,
throughout your life are a fast food eater, your DNA is changed to want fast food, and you actually pass that on to your children. So it's and I can't remember the specifics. It's been 15 or 20 years ago that this paper came out, I remember myelination was a big part of it. It's like your brain knows what it wants, and you pass on the craving for McDonald's specifically, Burger King, Sonic. You pass that on to your kids, and then they want the same thing from birth. Like, as they're growing up, they want fast food. They have a craving for it because you had it. So when you talk about just changing your lifestyle, you legitimately could be changing the entire
lineage,
your whole lineage. Yes. And now that we know, that these fast foods, I love watching the McDonald's burgers that won't
disintegrate,
rot. They won't do any, like, they won't mold, right? You're taking that out of your body. You're taking it out of your kids' bodies. Like, I think it's just such a neat thing to just get started early. Luckily I married a woman who's on the exact same page as me. And so our children will live a healthy life, but there's a lot of people that aren't, unfortunately.
Yep. And I believe that's true too, because I wanted nothing but jalapenos when I was pregnant with Abigail, and she literally ate her salad yesterday with no dressing on it. All she wanted was the spicy pepper Texas hot sauce on it for her dressing. And I'm like, that's my fault.
Yeah.
The Texas heat that have the little green chilies in there.
Yeah.
That's
what she used for salad dressing.
That's amazing. Let's go. I'm scared to give my kid something hot. Beckett's finally to the age he could be like, this sucks. I'm not eating that again. Liam would burn up and hate me because he'd think I did something wrong.
I used to give Abigail the medium pecani sauce, and she'd sit there and she'd eat it and she'd go, and take a drink of water and dip her chip back in it and get another.
Yeah, go after
That was at 2.
My little brother, Garrett, is well known for eating the hottest things on earth when he was young. Like his dad and him would eat like the hottest peppers.
Yeah,
I'm not sure that he ever liked it, but I think he just did it
to be cool.
because it was normal. All right, so let's we've almost hit that hour mark, and there's if we could talk for 3 hours, I truly don't care. I know y'all are sleepy and want to go to bed, but I want to know about the future of Poe Prepping. Where does it go from here? So your first question, you have 2 food truck trailers. One you actually use. Is the other one available if someone wanted to either purchase it or maybe they wanted to franchise under you and keep your healthy habits? What does that look like to you guys?
So-
Is that an opportunity?
I'll let you take that one.
We have a current food truck friend that is looking to expand his burger business. And so he may actually be purchasing it. We'll see. But if not, we've definitely talked about franchising it out. It's hard to find employees. And I would run both of them if I had people that I could first off trust to pull it, and not wreck it. And second off, just trust in general to show up, because they just don't.
Right.
People
are weird these days. Right?
We're in that season. People just don't want to work. But currently it is, yes, up for sale, up for a different option.
It's currently not licensed.
It's not, yeah, we let the license, well, just the license and the insurance on it was just not worth how little we were using it. And then,
So it's got a 4-burner stove in it, and it's got like a 28-inch flat top on it, and it's way smaller. It's got one freezer and then one make table. You know, it's set up to be able to run. It's got the sink, and it would be easy to get a new license for it. You just have, if somebody was to buy it, they would have to go through a plans review, send that in, and then apply for their license. Unfortunately, that still costs. The plans review is like $425 to the state of Oklahoma, and then the license is like $350 a year.
What about franchising? So then they just be under your licensing, right? Is that an option if someone out there is like a college kid trying to get by or whatever?
Yep.
Yeah, we would have to relicense it. I don't think that we would have to go through the plans review since it's still under our name. We pay for each truck and the store. We pay $350 a year. So that's
just to have that piece of paper.
And the small food truck, it wasn't making sense, like she says, for as much as we was running it to keep paying, all the fees and stuff on it. So,
so the large newer food truck is definitely going to stay in business. It's going to the shop actually tomorrow, just to give the fancy generator a little love.
So we've got a Cummins Onan generator on the front of it that powers, because like I said, we got 3 refrigerators and 2 freezers, 250 amps. So it puts out a whole bunch, a lot of electricity, and it's having trouble. It'll start, but it's having trouble starting. So we're taking it to a diesel mechanic so he can work on it.
It's just in the 4,400 hours that we've ran it in the past 3 years, it's never been like cleaned. Or
we've serviced it, oil changes and stuff like that, but we haven't. It's got a little Kubota.
It's still a diesel engine, right? It's got a
little Kubota engine in
it does not like the cold weather. She is female, and she lets you know about it. And so we
wait. Does it have a block heater? I need to know if it has a heater to plug in.
I wish it did. That would be amazing.
No, if it did,
you got to get a heated blanket from Sam's and just put around it.
Yeah.
I literally just said that.
All right, so let's talk future. Where are y'all headed with Poe Prepping? What can we expect to see in the next 1, 3, 5 years?
We're definitely going to keep the store. I don't, and we've talked about this. We don't want to actually have like a restaurant. So if somebody comes in and sits down, we people enough, and we don't want to have to worry, So I don't think that that's in the future.
I think that more classes, and like you said, teaching people the healthy real food initiative and showing it that it's possible and how quick and easy it really can be. That was one of the things I really wanted to do from the beginning of having this building. I was just, scared to death to do it because.
So I think so. The next thing is we're in the process of paying off our food truck, or the trailer and the Ford that pulls the food truck. So we didn't have the capital just to pay cash for it. So went to the bank. So the goal in the next year is to have both of those paid off. And
That
then
food truck wasn't cheap, right? I mean, it's a chunk of an investment,
Yeah.
Yes.
but for a good cause, like for good reason.
And then after we get those paid off, when we signed the lease on the building that we're in, we had a lease purchase option. So I think within the next 3 years, we would like to own our building, outright, so we can add parking, or it's ours. I think that's the goal for the next 1 to 3 years is paying off a little bit of debt, and then buying the building that we're in.
Yeah. The only reason that we would ever move from the place that we are located is if for some reason this perfect location in town with the drive-through came open. Because I've decided and done some research that as a food industry in Ada, Oklahoma, like the leading capital of drive-throughs, you don't survive if you don't have a drive-through.
You go to any other town, say Ardmore, Long Grove, you pull up to a store, they don't have drive-throughs. Every store in Ada, even the CTS has had drive-throughs at one point. Every convenience store in Ada, besides the Chickasaw travel stop over by the Walmart, has a drive-through in it.
And that's because it has a casino connected to the back of it.
I'm just saying, I bought way more beer in Ada through the drive-thru than I ever did.
Yeah, right. Like you can just pull up and be like, I need a 12-pack.
So that if a spot in town,
Mama don't hate me.
And we looked at a building, it was actually condemned. It was on Broadway. Again, we didn't have the capital that was needed to remodel the building.
Yeah.
Because it had like a 2-inch gap in the foundation, and it needed foundation repair, and then needed a whole new roof. And they wanted not way too much money, but they wanted more than we could afford for the building and how much work needed to go into it. So if a building similar to that was to open up in town, we would buy it. But we're right on the edge of Ada. We're not in city limits. So when it comes to taxes, we don't pay city tax. So that's something that we didn't talk about in this whole deal either. Is every time that we go to a new town or a new county, we have to keep track of what town it is, what county it is, and what's their tax rate, right?
Right.
So, City of Ada has.
You have to get a permit to be in each county, right? Or is it citywide?
It's different cities or different
we can
rules
set up in any county in the state, meaning that we have a state license. But if we go to each city is different, and they may require you to have a city permit on top of your state permit. Mm-hmm. So, like for the city of Ada, it costs $300 a year to have a city permit. And I think at Davis, what was that? It was something.
Oh my gosh, Davis.
Yeah. Davis, it was something stupid to where you had to pay
like $600
for the year, and then you go to a little town like Conawa, it's $10 a day every time you set up.
Yeah. And then some people are like, we just want your business.
The state tax commission, you have to pay for all your sales. You have to keep up with those, and then you got to pay your sales tax at the end of the month.
Everybody thinks I'm going to open a food truck.
So
there's a lot more that goes into
it. And then
I
think, what was our highest sales tax bill that we had? Monthly sales tax bill.
I don't know.
$2,000, $3,000 in taxes that we've paid, in a month. That's just a month. It's based off your monthly sales,
That's wild.
Yeah, that's for a food truck. But as far as the future, I really think going back to the make America healthy again, we gotta start teaching people. And so I'm super excited about our classroom opportunities, getting people in there for meal prepping, making it a family thing even, like bring the whole family. We'll teach you how to meal prep. And if you don't like it, like this is a different option that you can substitute for that.
We're starting a brewery in your building.
Starting a brewery with the boy. Hey, help me buy it and we'll just add on and put you in the back room.
Damn. I can't move back southwest. Y'all gotta have to come to Green Country. There's not enough rain down there. I'm a waterman.
We just need to franchise up there in the other half of y'all's building.
Let's get it. I'm in.
I know a guy who lives in the area who doesn't have a day job.
He just admitted on live on TV that he works from home and hates it. Awesome. Well, I greatly appreciate you guys coming on tonight and talking about the things that you do. I know that when we get into people's personal business, sometimes they don't want to share, but y'all really are doing things for a good cause and to help people be healthy. Whether an answer to a question for you or not is irrelevant, right? It's about the fact that other people are getting questions answered for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And healthy food is just we're in dire need of a good place to go eat healthy food that doesn't cost me $30 for a steak or whatever, outrageous prices. So
our most expensive menu item is probably our gumbo.
So it has everything in it.
Good though. Look, I don't care. Charge what you want.
And we've had
it's heaven in a bowl.
We've had people say, "Well, your menu prices are too high," but we're averaging anywhere from $10 to $16, $18 for a meal.
Yeah.
And you go to Whataburger and get you a cheeseburger, and you're going to spend $12.
Same price.
Or you go to
and you're not getting half the nutrients.
You go to Applebee's or Chili's and get you even a chicken salad, you're going to spend $14, $16.
Yeah.
I hope that prices of food do come down pretty soon. It has gotten out of hand. I went to Washington and went to Popeyes or something, like one of those fried chicken places, right? Like chicken strips. And I still try to go there and eat healthy and get like their grilled item. But for a 3-piece, it was $19 or something.
So, you got to think, when we first started, we were getting chicken, for under $1 a pound?
89 cents a pound. And then at one point, I was paying $5 a pound for chicken. And those chicken didn't improve.
This is right after
No,
COVID. Yeah, right before COVID, 89 cents a pound for chicken. And then that has, that reflects on the cost of the food,
And it
has to. You can't go broke feeding people.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and it fluctuates too. You have to think the price of chicken might go down, but the price of vegetables went up that day, or the price of diesel doubled overnight. So there's a lot of ups and downs in prices, but really, if you watch it,
and then people don't realize the insurance that we pay, the fees that we pay to keep our business open, right? And that goes into the cost also,
Yeah.
Right.
So it's a lot, and just the amount of time I spend at the grocery store. I went 3 times today.
But you got everything you need.
Yeah, the third time. I finally got it all.
That's tough.
It's all good.
Well, awesome. Well, guys, let's start wrapping it up here. If someone, number one, if they want to plan an event and have you cater, whether it be the charcuterie or the food truck or pick up meals, whatever, how can they contact you? What's where they can get in touch with you?
The best way is either private message us through Facebook or call my phone number.
We got to work. Call
the work phone,
the business phone number.
Can we put that number on the air?
You bet. I'll tell it to you if you want me to tell
Let's
it to
have
you.
it. Yeah.
So the work phone
is 580-272-7217, and we do phone calls and text messages. Prefer text messages if possible, actually, because we're constantly doing things. Yes, constantly either driving or doing something with our hands. And so text messages are great. And like we said, we travel all over the state. I mean, if you have it, we will come. So
is the range the state of Oklahoma, or can you go, I'm 12 miles from Arkansas border? Is Fayetteville out of the question right now, or how does that work?
It all has to deal with licensing.
We're not licensed in any other state right now. Okay. You could get a special events license, so that if Fayetteville had a fair, they sometimes do special event licenses where you can just go to that fair. There's people that comes into Oklahoma City for the state fair, and they get a license just for the state fair.
That's part of one of our goals in the next 3 years is to be in the state fair. I've been on the list for 3 years, and it ain't happened yet.
Currently, we're not licensed in any other state, so we couldn't go out of state for an event.
Yeah.
Unless like she said, we were paid to, and then we got the license, and you're paying for the license. We've delivered over almost everywhere in the state. I don't think that we've ever went out to the Panhandle. Mostly South Central Oklahoma. We've been up to Oklahoma City, Edmond. We've been, Bethany. We've brought food to Tulsa. So if it's feasible, there will be a delivery fee, for somewhere, especially that far, time and money. Mm-hmm. Somebody's time's valuable.
But for as far as the food truck, as long as we can fit, we'll take it.
We've taken it to Tahlequah. I don't think we've ever taken it to Tulsa. We've taken it to Oklahoma
No,
City.
I took it to Tulsa for a CrossFit
Did you?
competition.
So we've been.
I definitely passed Tulsa because you
Yeah.
were Kansas, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
The town of Kansas,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
the
So
state of
we've taken it all over the state.
We've done a wedding in Broken Bow at a cabin that I accidentally wrote down wrong and thought it was a birthday party. Showed up, it was a wedding. I was like, okay, congratulations.
We got this.
We do social media marketing a lot.
Definitely.
Facebook,
Instagram,
just Poe Prepping.
we do have a TikTok. It doesn't have much on it, but it's there.
So you can Facebook is probably the best. Where you can find us, and we post all of our stuff. You can go see pictures of the things that we do, the different menus and stuff like that, where we're going to be at, events that we're going to be at. As far as events that we already have planned,
We will definitely be in Pryor for the Okie homesteading event.
What's the dates on that?
March 20th. Is that a Friday?
it's the week of spring break. It's the week of spring break for most of the state of Oklahoma.
2021, I think. Let me look. And then we'll be in Fort Washita the first full week of April for the Chickasaw Rendezvous Festival. Oh, the 20th, 21st, and 22nd is the Pryor event.
Okie homesteading event.
And then
Which is a super cool event anyway. What did they butcher a pig last year, right? And
Yeah,
talking about
so they
I want to go to that myself.
So they do. So Okie homesteading, they do different talks. They have different people that are doing. They have a lot of YouTubers that are there, and it's all about homesteading. They have vendors. They have you can go. I don't know if they have a website or a Facebook. But
Facebook for sure.
Facebook Okie homesteading. It's at the Mays County Fairgrounds. In
Some of the best people.
yeah.
One of my favorite
They have stuff for
festivals.
kids, food trucks. They have vendors. They got people there that are selling chicken tractors and just all kinds of they have a little blacksmith out there doing demonstrations. It's a really fun event that we've got to be a part of the last 2 or 3 years.
3 years. Yeah.
And
It's very cool, and that's another thing too that we're really getting into is sharing each other's skills, like for the Voices of the Heartland. You realize you know all these people that know how to do all this really cool stuff. Why are we not teaching each other how to do this? Hello.
Look, for those of y'all that don't understand, we've talked about having a compound, not really a compound, but I'm actively trying to get all my friends to move to green country because, well, one, it's more beautiful than South Central Oklahoma, which is basically the desert.
having 30 acres of land and everybody lives on that 30 acres together.
Sure, let's call it 300. I don't care.
And everybody has their own place,
go.
but then they have.
But
Yeah, we've talked about.
we all have so many skills, and you can't. I've tried to learn it all. You can't,
Mm-mm.
right? You do things. Whether it comes to I'm a deer hunter. You gut a deer once or twice a year, and it's within 2 weeks of each other.
Yeah.
You kind of forget until the next time, right? So try every skill out there. So yes,
And then there's just not enough hours in the day. You can't do the chickens and the garden and the hunting and work a real job and take care of the kids and cook dinner and do the dishes. But if you had a group of people together to do it.
Let's go. All right, so the village is getting started right here on the air. All right, Poes. I appreciate y'all's time very, very much. It's been wonderful. For those of y'all wondering, the show, we will eventually start doing live documentary style. So somewhere in the next 6 months, I expect to be in the Poe Prepping trailer with this camera, and probably had to bring a couple more and some mics, and we'll be set up and recording and showing you guys what it looks like on the inside. That's the vision for the show. Because I'm super interested in everything on Earth, and so I want to make a show that shows off everything on Earth, right? We want to learn those skills. So I'll look forward to that date whenever that comes around. Thank you guys very, very much for being on the night. If you all have any questions, contact them, call that work number, hit them up on the DMs on Facebook. You can also reach out to me. I don't really know the best. Probably just email Chamberlain Football Consulting. That's what I do for my full-time job. We'll pretend that's a full-time job. I consult for football. I football coach year-round. So hit me up there, and I can get you in touch with the Poes. Great people, obviously doing great things for Oklahomans and well, hopefully more than Oklahomans pretty soon. Appreciate you guys. We'll close it out with that. Thank you so much. We'll see you on the next episode.
Well, cowboys are back in style, and I know it's been a while, and I often dream of you and your half-green baby blues, the way your dimples sink into your smile.